W9H5FA. The floor is yours, Jerry. uh, Back to you.
Oh my, thank you. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. I hope everybody can hear me well. I just actually sat down. So good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day to everybody who's listening. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Leading today's forum for the 9H Ham Global Forum, I suppose, for a better choice of a word. I'd like to thank everybody for checking in. We meet every 2 weeks on Thursdays here, wherever you're listening to us from. We're heard on 9H1 UHF. We're heard on 9H1 DMR. We're also heard live on YouTube on the 9H Ham GlobalNet YouTube page as well. You can also listen to a recording of this gathering after the net. Maybe give a day or two, and the recording will be there for you to listen to on demand. I'd like to thank a lot of people for making this net possible, and Anthony and Steve for even thinking about the net and making it real. And it has been going on for almost, I guess about almost 100 sessions, once every 2 weeks. So somebody do the math, because I can't do that right now. Let me give a pause. I know my audio is slightly low, not too bad, because this is the totally new arrangement, and it gets a little getting used to on different programs that I use the microphone on. But where was I? Oh yes, thanking everybody for contributing to the net. We now we meet every 2 weeks, and we seem to enjoy it. And sometimes the net is a short one, and at other times, sometimes the net lasts even an hour and a half or almost to 2 hours. It is not really a net. It does not have a net control operator, but everybody's contribution is welcome. And obviously, we go from one topic to another, just like a butterfly on flowers. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. I will take a pause now. I should have done that at the beginning for any emergency or priority traffic. Okay, hearing none, this is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Let me take some check-ins, and somebody tell me how my audio is. It looks like it's okay or almost okay, but if it needs to be adjusted, I'll adjust it momentarily. Let's take some check-ins. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, standing by.
5 Foxtrot Alpha, checking in. Jerry, you're coming in loud and clear. Perfect. Couldn't be better. My name is Anthony, 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Hotel 1 Sierra Fox, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox, operator Steven, standing by.
9 Hotel 1 Foxtrot Bravo Sierra, 9H1 FVS, standing by.
H2 Oscar Charlie, the name is Owen.
Okie dokie, this is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey returning. I acknowledge November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Well, I am on the net. Maybe I need to check myself in somewhere else. That was funny. 9 Hotel 5 Fox Alpha, 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox, 9 Hotel 1 Fox Bravo Sugar, and 9H2 Oscar Charlie. Good evening to you all. And before I check myself in somewhere else, let me see if there are any more check-ins this evening.
Zero VIA coming in on DMR.
You're coming in very nicely on DMR, G0BIA, acknowledged. Anybody else at this point in time? None. I believe Steve, 9H1 Sugar Foxtrot, has a presentation for us about the Jamboree on the air, and I assume also the Jamboree on the internet that happened last week. Let me take another short pause and where's my coffee? Let me take another short pause for check-ins, and then we'll pass it over to you, Steve. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey with the 9H Ham GlobalNet. Alrighty, hearing nothing, we have a total of 6 check-ins so far. Good evening to you, Stephen. 9 Hotel 1 Sugar Fox with the 9H Ham forum gathering, whichever. I guess people did gather at the forum. Kind of like that word. And I hope you're having a good evening, and the floor is all yours. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
Hey Jerry, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Thank you. Good evening from our side, and greetings to everyone that's on the net here, and also thank you to Anthony for giving me this opportunity to speak. Okay, well, I will start and I'll give a few pauses about because of the repeat, so we don't time it out. Okay. The Marconi Amateur Radio Circle works closely with the Baden-Powell Scouts. We have been working together now for the past 6 years, and they seem to enjoy themselves. The difference with the Scouts is they come to us, not us going to them, which also helps out because everything is already set up. Let me give a second pause. So, Baden-Powell, the Scouts, there's a Scouts group, the Scouts Group Association of Malta, and there's the Baden-Powell Scouts. Okay, so there's 2 Scouts groups, and the difference between 2 of them is Baden-Powell call it JOTA instead of Jamboree, and Rally on the Air. So that's a bit of information about there. On the weekend, we had 8 groups from Mtarfa, Mjar, Zabuj, St. Paul's Bay, and Ormi, Lua, and Bahriya, Baden-Powell Scouts. And this year we had the Mtarfa Scouts group, which are next door to us, which are the normal Scout groups, not Baden-Powell, which came. Let me give one pause. Over the weekend, it gets a bit busy up there at the club because of all those groups are coming up, and they come up in obviously different times. and also when they start, they do their, their outside. So outside is full of children running around. Some of the activities that were prepared for them over the weekend was some Morse, using the Morse key and having the information on a piece of paper there, so they could learn how to do the Morse and play with the Morse key. Signaling with the flags outside in the drive-in and outside in the field there. The phonetic alphabet for when they're on the radio and spelling out their names and whatever they need to do there. The scouting the knots, how they do the tying of the knots. It was quite interesting. I had to go outside for a little bit for some air, and you could see the children having all this fun. Anyway, and other things for the 4-year-olds, because we had a lot of young ones as well, like some drawing and simple things for the little ones, and connecting obviously with the other scouts over the internet. There with the internet, they're really on the internet, and it was very, very interesting to see all these children all up there. Let me give a pause, please. Okay, so then it came to the communication. So we, in the radio room, where we had groups of 5 and 6 come in. It was difficult at first because we had the cubs come in the morning, and the cubs were, the ages of the cubs were between 4 and 6 years old. So it was, you have to explain more in, in simple terms for the 4-year-olds, obviously. They're more wanting to play and whatever, but they were quite interested. Once we had the other groups come in, the older groups, we started to have more fun, obviously, and they took more interest. So we started speaking about what was amateur radio, even though the groups, came in, they had a small lecture beforehand. We still gave them another lecture in the radio room on how to use the radios, explained about the cluster, what the cluster is used for, the propagation. We had the monitor on, so we had the time clock running at the same time, and they could see the propagation and how it works. Let me give a pause. Onto the phonetic alphabet again, as they had all the information we gave them printed in booklets. So we spoke about the equipment and what we have in the shack and what we were going to use on that day. We had communication with other scouts from other countries, even though we spoke to all the groups in Malta. We concentrated on making QSOs with other Jamboree stations. Scouts as far as Japan, VK, ZO, and the States, including Europe. They all enjoyed themselves. Even though the weather was not nice on Saturday, they still managed to do all the activities, most of their activities anyway, outdoor and indoor. Let me give another pause. Erected a tent really quickly outside. It was amazing to see this, and they erected this canopy tent with a fence which is around the premises, and they took out their hot plates and fires and started cooking, sausages and burgers and whatever while the rain was coming down. So that was on a Saturday. We had to close the station down at one point in time because of the thunder and lightning which was close by there, and so I thought I'd better switch off everything not to make any damage. Sunday we had a few groups come up, but the weather was not good on, this year, so none of the scouts camped there. Usually in the past the scouts like to camp over there, the Jamboree, and just pitch their tents out there, and who wants to sleep inside, who wants to sleep near the radios, who wants to sleep upstairs. And one year I went in and I found this little child sleeping on the table, so that was interesting. I wonder what would have happened if he turned over, but anyway, that wasn't my problem. So a bit of the equipment that we used, let me give another pause. Used. we were using the A2 FT710, the new model there, with 100 watts, and we were also running the Kenwood TS57 Delta with 100 watts. We were using two antennas, a 72 full-size long end-fed wire antenna, and the 7-element 3B MOX antenna on 3 bands on the 2-section tower, which is open to the full. And that was about the weekend. Sunday wasn't quite as busy like I said on Saturday, but we still managed to make a few contacts, and the children still enjoyed themselves. And they actually, there was, you know, a good feedback from the kids, because during the week, the scouts in St. Paul's Bay, the St. Paul's Bay Sea Scouts, continue doing the phonetic alphabet and using walkie-talkies between them, between the group itself, you know, to get more confident using the alphabet, and so they'll be better for next year. So something did go into their brains there, and it seemed to work. It was quite a short presentation, but I think there was a lot done over the weekend, not only from our side, but from everyone else, all the radio amateurs all over the island that gave a helping hand with the other Scouts groups. And we, like we said, you know, we managed to speak to all the groups there. I had a chance to go help 9 Hotel 1 Juliet Lima set up at the muster group there. So, yeah. Okay, I'll give another pause, and I'll pass the microphone to Jerry, and then we'll see from there. So, Anthony, for this, and great job anyway to everybody, even you, Jerry. Thank you once again. And I'll pass the microphone over to you, Jerry, and we'll see from there. Microphone back to you, Jerry.
Okay, very good. It sounded like it was a really nice weekend, and you know, sometimes you see something or you experience something, and it goes to the back of your mind, and then years later, it comes back out, and you do something about it. So you never know. You really never know. And I do have a question, but before I ask my question, which may turn into 5 or 6, let me give a pause and see if there are any check-ins or any questions or comments. November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey. All right, this is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey, taking it back. Now, you know, my my daughter is very involved with the Scouts group in Texas. Actually, she's a senior vice president for the Texas chapter of the Girl Scouts of Texas. But here, the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts are still two separate organizations. Is that the case over there, or have they joined forces, or let me know.
Sierra Fox, do you copy? This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. I got the wrong, I pressed, I was on the wrong CT. Okay, Jerry, good question there. I'm not too sure about that, but I know, like I said, mentioned to you before, that the St. Paul's Bay group has the Sea Cadets, the Sea Scouts, and so they're mixing. I'm not too sure about that one, Jerry. Good question to us, huh?
Yes, you know, my daughter and I talk about it from time to time, and I tell her what it used to be like when I was a kid. many decades ago, but but it's very interesting. What was the most memorable QSO and the most memorable scout operator this year during the session last weekend?
Very good, Jerry. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox returning. We had a young girl, she was about 11, and we were doing a QSO, not with the local groups, with a station. I think it was a Japanese station, Japanese jamboree station, because I tell you, we worked really hard on making a lot of QSOs on stations, obviously doing a proper QSO out, on the HF, how it should be done. And we had a conversation about 5 minutes with this Japanese station. I can't remember the call sign offhand because I haven't got the logbook in front of me. And she was so clear, and she had the microphone in her hand. She came last year as well, and she was that eager to talk, and giving her name with the phonetic alphabet, and saying how old she was and where she is originally from in Malta, and again with the phonetic alphabet, explaining where she is from and spelling it no problem. And she was really, really clear. And this Japanese guy came back again, and it was a jamboree station from Japan, and she got to speak to 2 other pupils in the group there, in English obviously, and it just went on for about 5 minutes, and that was something really, really nice to see, Jerry. QSL.
That's very excellent. Let me see if there are any other check-ins real quick, with everybody's permission, and then we'll go on. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
Nine Hotel 2 Juliet Golf checking in.
You down, 9 Hotel 2 Juliet Golf. Thank you for checking in. Good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. And let's see, anybody else with any questions or comments at this point in time? And then I'll share a little experience that I had actually this weekend with the Mosta group over actually this whole system, Echo Link and the 9H1 UHF repeater. But did anybody work the Jamboree on the air for a better choice of title, because I forgot what Steve told me? Don't get old, Steve. This is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey. I did hear somebody there, but your audio was very, very low. Very solid signal, but very low audio. N7APW. Compli, Aiden Nashismak.
Dan لما أتكلم الصوماليين Dan طالبة ووصى يرايس
ħafna ma battux ismek ma naf li qed topera fuq ir-radio tal-papa. Qed nieħdu gost nisimgħuk. Ħanerġa' nieqaf ftit u mbagħad inkomplu nimxu bin-net. N7 APW.
N7 APW, this is 9H5FA. The QSO you were just having didn't come through on the UHF repeater. We heard you, but we couldn't hear the other party, so I'm not sure exactly what's wrong and how the other station was transmitting. But we couldn't hear anything on the repeater or on the 9H1 UHF Echo Link station. Back to you, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Okay, Roger. So obviously the radio, whether it's a transceiver or whether it's a handheld or whatever, be operating on simplex as opposed to be operating on duplex to the repeater, and I can hear her because of the way this setup is with 9H1 UHF. So let me give another pause, and it was a very cute girl who was saying hello using her father's radio. I'll give another pause. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Well, hearing nothing, I'll keep an ear out, because obviously I'm the only one who can hear her. I wasn't aware of that, of course. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey with the 9H Ham global gathering that happens every 2 weeks on Thursday, exactly around this time or a few minutes before. Anybody with any questions or comments with Steve's presentation, 9H1 Sugar Foxtrot? And thank you for the presentation, Steve. It sounds like it was a lot of fun. And, I was wondering whether, as you said, the scouts come to you because obviously you have a great setup at your club. I wonder if there's enough interest for a group of scouts to come and take the course and get their license. I don't honestly think that age has any bearing on the license at all. I used to teach class way back in the late 80s and early 90s, and they were averaging about 15 to 20 people per class. And the youngest licensed hams that came out of the class were two brothers that were 9 and 10, and they were fantastic. They went through the course, and they got their license 1 week later, and they were on the air with the help of their parents, of course, about a week and a half later, past that one. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Questions, comments?
Juliet Golf with a comment.
Jonathan, good afternoon, good evening, actually.
Good evening and good afternoon to you as well. I didn't hear the full conversation because obviously I had other things to do, and I started the net about 20 minutes late. But actually this year on JOTA or Jamboree, my daughter had her first experience in HS, and she was super happy. She's 9, turning 10 in 15 days, so it was a nice birthday present for her as well. Regarding the comment of that girl coming in, I think it came in all through echoing, because even I heard the comment and obviously the conversation, the little conversation she said. Besides that, I would like to thank everyone, and well, the Scouts group, actually not the Scouts group, even the Scouts, but the operators involved and all the setups that they were around Malta for doing this effort for the Scouts group. This is 9 Hotel 2 Juliet Golf, back to Nav Controller.
Jonathan. Well, it's a lot of work. I'm sure Steve can tell us how much work it is, and both he and Joe put a lot of time and effort into it, and it is rewarding. I know it's rewarding. Even when we organize field day, it's quite rewarding. And Steve, you were mentioning that people, well, just about camped out, right, Steve? Go ahead.
Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox, and greetings to Jonathan there. This year, yes, they just done a quick, simple canopy tent because of the bad weather, and they just done their barbecuing and cooking skills and whatever under this piece of tent. But usually, in the past, obviously the weather was better, they would pitch their tents and do their camping. There would be about 6 to 7 tents pitched outside, and nowhere to walk by through, because it will be children everywhere. But they pitched this tent and they done their their skills, cooking skills and whatever, under this canopy tent with the rain just falling down around them. So it was nice to see. And also I could hear that the young girl talking also from here anyway. Okay, microphone back to you. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox.
And it made my day. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Well, let's give a pause. Any check-ins, any comments, anything for the net, and then I'll share an experience that I had this weekend with with two scouts who were participating with 9H6 Sierra Golf Mike at Mosta. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, with a quick pause.
Were these provided, lent to the kids by the club, or did they bring their own? I'm assuming you're referring to the PMR 446s, but it's actually, really exciting for kids of age to be able to talk between themselves on a radio, and well, yeah, pretend that they're talking on ham and use the necessary lingo and phonetic alphabet, etc. I think that's a really good idea. Back to 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Well, that part wasn't done at the club, but obviously it was done by the Baden-Powell Sea Scouts in St. Paul's Bay. Which they done it apparently so today is Thursday, so that they done it yesterday at where they meet up in St. Paul's Bay, and they continued from last week's activity by using walkie-talkies to practice using the phonetic alphabet. So there's photos on Facebook, there's photos on our page of the kids with their walkie-talkies and the phonetic alphabet that we've given them, what we've given them during the past in their books and whatever, and they were studying the phonetic alphabet again, talking with, as you said, the lingo there. So it was good. It was something nice to see. That's what we've done over the weekend. It's gone into their heads, and we do the same thing every year, going over the phonetic alphabet and going over things that we've done in the past years, and so the St. Paul's Bay Sea Scouts took us into practice apparently yesterday or the day before, and there's photos on our Facebook page as well, with the children with the radios in their hands and the phonetic alphabet as well. So yeah, it was a really good idea that they done that as well. So it makes them, more confident on the radio, even for maybe another event that we can do up at the club and bring up the scouts, to do another activity or whatever using our call sign, and them being, having a QSO with us being on board with them there. So, this year we had other scouts, like I said, the Imperva scouts, which are next door to us, come for the first time. They bring 2 groups over. So that was pretty busy on Saturday. Pretty busy, and the lousy weather didn't help because the amount of children that were inside was amazing. We couldn't even get through the door at one point in time with the amount of kids. But anyway, I'll pass the microphone over to Jerry. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey from 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox.
Anything else, Anthony?
No, it's fine for me. But I was surprised at the number of different activities, even if this wasn't one of them, one of those organized by MARC. But I was surprised at the amount of activities they managed to put in a weekend, or roughly a day and a half, actually less than a weekend. I think it's an excellent way to sort of instill some degree of interest and sort of excitement in these kids. I mean, when my son was young, I had bought a set of, I didn't even have a license myself those days, but I had bought a set of PMR 446s, and we used to spend loads of time talking to each other through these radios, from opposite ends of a car park, for example, or from a supermarket, within a supermarket. And the other activities, great work, Steve. I mean, out of curiosity, how many people actually contributed to this? Was it how many people contributed to the organization of this? Because it was evidently quite a job. 9H1 Sierra Fox, 9H5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Like I said in the presentation, Anthony, they did do the phonetic alphabet there at the club. There's photos of them, the kids sitting down on the floor in the driveway, or on the tables there, with the paper, with the phonetic alphabets there, and they were doing their, lectures outside as well, using the phonetic alphabet. We always do it every year that. They have the information and they have to go through everything. We had the members of the Scouts look after most of the stuff outside. We would give them all the information that was necessary, like obviously with the Morse, give them the Morse key, with the oscillator, the phonetic alphabet and whatever, and they print a booklet. They do print a booklet with everything in it. And also inside the booklet, there is, when we do the CQ Jamboree or CQ whatever, in the space where they say their name and how they spell their name, and all the information and, the report and the weather, the WX, and do everything in that, and they have to fill in paperwork and all that kind of stuff. So some of the stuff has been prepared from beforehand, and then it's printed in a booklet, and they can reuse it every year for what they need to do or what we need to add. So, a lot of the Scouts help out. We had 8 groups. That's how busy it was. We had 7 Baden-Powell groups come up, and the Scout next to us. So 8 groups all in total over the weekend, and it's been happening like this for the past 4 years now. We've been doing it for about 6 years with the Baden-Powell, and all of a sudden after 2 or whatever years, 7 groups starts coming up. Like every year we get 7 groups come up. So it gets quite busy. Anthony, microphone back to you.
Guys, sorry if you're hearing barking in the background. That's obviously our dog. Great, Steve. Let me pass on the mic to Jerry, because there's a bit of background at the moment. And 7 APW, this is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Blah, blah, blah. I was going to give you a wrong number. 9 Hotel 5 Fox Alpha. After saying that call sign for at least 100, 3, 4, 500 times. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. What was I going to say? Do the Scouts get, or can they get, a merit badge for attending the Jamboree on the weekends, or on the Jamboree weekend, of course? And I have another idea just comes to mind. You know, you were talking about they're practicing phonetics on well, for a better choice, family radio service, which is, I assume, available to everybody without a license. So the question, suggestion, whatever, is interesting. Now, I'm going to assume that I'm sure there are quite a few radios that that operate on the ham bands that also can operate on, I call it the family radio service. I don't know exactly its title on the island, but that's what it is over here. It's the FRS, the family radio service. Because if that was the case, they could even communicate while while they're at the Jamboree, and maybe if this one group in St. Paul's Bay is taking it to heart, maybe one of these days, a couple of hams could drive to the vicinity, which would be in range of all the handy-talkies that they have, and join in. I think that would be fun, and I think it would be memorable, too. Any comments? November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
Hotel 2, Lima Radio.
Well, hello, Manuel. It's nice to hear your voice. I have you checked in. I'll pass it back to you, 9H2 Lima Radio, with 9H Ham Net and 7 APW.
Jerry, hello everyone. May I ask the permission of Steve to take up the floor a bit to explain a bit where we were on the weekend? Over.
Go ahead, Manuel.
Okay, Steve, that's it. Okay, so all over the island there were about 4 or 5. There were a few doing the JOTA, JOTI. There was Joe at Mostar Scouts Group. There was Steve at Imtarfa doing about 4 or 5, he mentioned. There was myself and my friend Mario, 9 Hotel 2 Lima Tango at San Juan Scouts Group. Then there was MARL, the other club, was covering Pembroke. There was another club, there were 2 persons or 3 in another place in Pembroke. There was Ivan and there was Steve for sure. And I'm not sure if there were Divgura Scouts Group. I take a break. Basically, we did the same. We had more plans. We were going to erect the antenna on Friday and do some communications on Friday and then Saturday. But the weather on the part of the island where we were in San Juan, it was raining and windy about 4-7, and we didn't want to leave the antenna erected. First of all, it
9H2 Lima Mike, November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. You may have been timed out, if you can hear me.
Okay, I'm back. ايوه عشان اللي ما ظاهر الراديو عشان البطريق. Yes, I was saying on Friday we were going to put up the antenna, which was a cobweb, and the antenna was very close to the road, was very accessible, and they had to do. They were going to camp in the field, and because of the weather, they didn't camp, and we didn't leave the antenna. So we changed the agenda quickly, and myself and Mario, we did a presentation which we had prepared just in case, and it happened to be good. So we did a presentation like Steve is saying. I'm going to give a pause. And after the presentation, Mario did a small workshop like Steve is saying, where they had to fill up a paper with their name and how to call CQ. The students, the scouts, were well prepared before how to use the phonetic alphabet. So it was easy. That was Friday. Saturday morning at 6 a.m. we erected the antenna with the rain drizzling, but anyway. And we started doing calls. I was a bit gutted, you say, with the attitude of certain amateur radios. I'm very sorry to say, because they didn't want either not to hear us, or because we were occupying the band or that particular frequency. They started pressing the PTT, changing the mode, putting it on AM, and it was, and the students, the scouts were saying, what's this noise, what's this noise? And even the other party, we were calling Cyprus at that time. He was telling this guy, can you stop, you are disturbing us. And the other thing, I managed to get worried about was that it was most of them were Italians. You tell them, okay, I'm going to pass you to a cop or to a scout. Would you like to speak to them? No, 73, bye-bye. So their intention was just to make that call sign, that QSO with that call sign. One answer to one of your questions, Jerry, was two. One, there was a question when I was explaining on ISS, how many people can live in ISS at one time, and I didn't know. So I told them I think it's 5 people. So I was not sure about that. And the other guy was very interested, and I knew this guy because he was on TV of Puttino. Everyone knows Puttino. And he's very interested, and when he gets bigger, he would like to attend the classes to become an amateur radio. He's so excited, and he was very excited speaking on the radio. I'll pass it to the floor, Jerry. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, 9 Hotel 2 Lima Reagan.
H1BX on the air.
To you, 9H1BX. I know that voice. That must be Bill. On Malta, of course. Good evening, Bill. Thank you for joining. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.
One word, please.
Go ahead, Steve.
Greetings to you this evening, 9 Hotel 1BX. Okay, Jerry, I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to have to say 73. Thank you once again to Anthony to give us this opportunity tonight. I don't know if I'll come back in a bit later on, if someone is still here anyway. But also, like I said already, well done to all the other Scouts groups and also to all the radio amateurs that took part this last week and weekend's event there. And yes, it was quite a fruitful event. Anyway, I'll say 73 from my side because I have to go for a bit. And thank you once again. Microphone back to you, Jerry, and good night for now. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. This is 9 Hotel 1 Sierra Fox.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I thought somebody was calling my name. Very good, Steve. Have a good evening. Thank you for the presentation and answering questions afterwards. And hopefully we'll talk to you soon. This is 9... I could be, I suppose. This is November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey. Did you have any comments, Bill? Go ahead.
Yeah, from 9H1BX in Moscow. Yeah, just some friends have just been, and I'm walking out to the square. Somebody's coming to drop something off for me, so I'll be able to pick it up without bother with parking, as parking is a big problem here, well in the whole of Malta, let alone just in Mostar. N7IPW 9H1BX.
Well, I hope it's cool outside, so you'll have a pleasant walk to the piazza, where the big rotunda is, I assume. Very good. Well, and thank you, Manuel, for all that update too. Any memorable moments from your experience last weekend, Manuel? And let us know. Go ahead.
Excuse me. Essentially, it was the whole weekend. You see all those kids enjoying the night, and the most moment was when it started raining Saturday at about 6 in the evening, and you can imagine all the Scouts came in the hall. The setup that they have there is like a big garage, and everything is in one big hall. And the only office is for the Scouts leaders, which is very small, and it's full of stuff. So our table was in part of this hall. As soon as it started raining, everyone came in, and we couldn't do not any contact, but it was very difficult. We did all in total 55 different countries. We did one American, not like Steve, more than us, and we did like Saudi Arabia, Oman, Cyprus, and the most areas we covered were Europe. Italians was the propagation was towards Italy. Let me break. We had a lot of Italians, Greek, Spanish, and French. But we did good. And this person, I said, this young boy from Puttino,
You know, it keeps getting in your mind, sort of. You know what he passed from, and he is very, very delighted that he is still alive, and looking forward to get older to become an amateur radio. That's what hit me. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey, 9 Hotel 2 Lima Radio.
Minimum age that one can become a ham, and if there is, which of course there is, for what you're saying, what is it?
Okay, from the research I did, but I didn't check the local laws of MCA. It is 12 years old. 12 years old. But I'm pretty sure, no. To get the license, I think it's 12 years old. But you can start practicing if you have your parents or something that you can speak with the help of your parent or guide that he is an amateur radio. So you can practice as much as you like, but then there is the theory and there is the regulation. I'm not 100% sure, but it is 12 years old.
Juliet Golf.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Small, no correction, but Manuel, I'm not sure if to obtain the Maltese license you need to have a valid ID card, and obviously without an ID card and without the ID card number you cannot have a valid MCA license. I'm not quite sure about that, but obviously if you have a guardian, everyone can practically talk, because obviously the guardian needs to be an amateur radio. That's if my memory is not mistaken. After that, if I may, Jerry, I have a comment regarding memorable moments as well.
Absolutely, it's an open net, so go ahead. And also, what's the minimum age for an ID card?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 14. I'm not 100% sure, but if I'm not mistaken, it's 14. Regarding moments, Saturday I was with Joe, Japan Lima. And there was this guy, if I'm not going wrong, he was from Greece. And he spent about 30 minutes talking with us, hearing every scout person, and saying hellos, and who the scout is, and what's his or her age. He was a very, very, very nice person. I mean, he was really had big patience, and he stood there answering to all the questions and all the members that they wanted to talk to him. Obviously, all the time. If I'm not going wrong, it was Bill operating the radio. The operator kept asking if he wanted to continue the the chat with us, or he wanted to leave, because he was there and was he was a very polite person. Mike, back to net controller.
Japa Lima here, just a quick add-on to what you are saying, Jonathan. Oh, go, yeah.
Have you checked in? Go ahead, and 7 APW.
H1 Japa Lima mobile. Just was researching of how to get something. Just to add on to what Jonathan is saying. That was Sugar Victor 4,
Foxtrot Golf Tango, Andy from Larissa in Greece. He took on nearly all the cups we had. He was very, very patient and very understanding, and he did a great job. I mentioned him in the write-up on the page 49H6 SGM because he really deserves it. He did a great job helping out with the children, and that's what ham radio spirit should be about, promoting our hobby and understanding. And 7APW with the group 9H1 Japa Lima.
Very good, Joe. 9 Hotel 1 Japan Lima, November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey. Well, while you're here, and if you have time, and I don't want to keep you, like I kept you on Saturday, tell them about how I keep you an extra hour on the radio on Saturday when it started drizzling at 6 p.m. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, well, sorry for butting in, guys. Actually, I only have a very short time slot. I just heard you talking over here. But yeah, we had plans this afternoon, me and the XYL. Yeah, you did a great job indeed also. Those persons you were talking to, Jerry, they were special needs persons, but they are very also intelligent, and he liked it quite a lot. I loved the communications with you. James did, and his mother sent me a big thank you today, and she really appreciated it. And actually, I tried to get him to see if he wants to go for his license, and got him in touch with 9H1 Golf Whiskey. And well, we'll see what happens. We'll have to wait and see. But it really moved on quite well with you. And you did a great job. He loved every minute of it. Okay, regarding children, they all had their share. Every one of them had a good chat. And the ventures also. Just before you hooked you connected with, I had the venture unit when it was raining at that time too, and we did get a couple of good contacts too. So we did have a good jamboree on the air again, and hopefully next year we'll do it again with God's help and my fellow radio hams. Everybody gave a little bit, and we got where we wanted. So that was the main objective of the whole thing. Apart also from, I have noticed that more groups managed to do the activity this year. Let's keep on doing it, guys, because this is the way we go forward, and make those children love every minute. That's the main objective, that they enjoy it. Let's not make it a must for them. Let them enjoy it if they want. That's the way I go about it. I've been doing it for now 26 years, and it comes automatically, as most of you have noticed. Thank you for all the hams that visited our location also. We had quite a good number visiting, and also noticed that the new radio hams also were involved. That's quite an achievement in all of it. Okay, thank you, Manuel. Thank you here, of the antennas and all that also. So that's what I can say. Not much really. I'll pass it over to you, Jerry. I don't want to keep it too long. Just have to pick up something and head back down to join the wife again. N7APW with the group, 9H1 Japa Lima. I was going to say 9H6 SGM. It's still active, mind you, till the end of the month. Go ahead, Jerry.
5 diesel.
still there, Jerry?
Yeah, my mouse went to sleep. Or maybe it's hungry and I have to feed it some cheese. NH2 Lima Radio with the group 780W returning. Very good, Joe. Thank you very much for all you do and have done for years. Well, the same to you, Steve, as well, and all the other people that Manuel mentioned were at different places on the island. That is wonderful to see. And before you go, Joe, I want to tell you that if James needs an email from me, he can use the one that's on QRZ.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer back. And I believe it was James and Cheek, if I remember correctly. They were just walking by, and it was starting to rain, and I was actually here on 9H1 UHF via Echo Link, and we started a conversation, and it happened, I believe, this past summer. James had spent time in Alaska, and of course, I won't say I'm in Alaska, but I'm fairly close to Alaska, and of course in the United States, and so we started a conversation that was very delightful, and it lasted just about an hour, and I enjoyed the heck out of it, but I knew that Joe had to go because it was probably 5 or 10 minutes past 6 p.m. local Malta time when we started the conversation. And so he was trying to prepare that ready to go. So I really thank you for that, Joe. There was another check-in, and I didn't write it down. But please come back so I can. November 7, Alpha Papa.
NH5BZ, come in, NH1 Japa Lima.
Okay, 9H1 Japa Lima, 985BZ on the road. Pleased to meet our friend from USA, Jerry, and the group. I was hearing about the age of obtaining a license, and I think that person obtained an ID card, a Maltese national ID card, at the age of 14 years. So if someone enters 14 years old into hospital, he's considered as an adult nowadays, not as a pediatric. So I'm not sure about how the request of the license with regards to the ham radio, but the more we have, the better. The more young generation, the better. Otherwise, within 5 to 10 years, this hobby in Malta, in my opinion, will vanish on the air, because at times you don't hear anyone on the air. Local repeaters we do have. We have plenty of local repeaters, one in Gozo, which is located in Shara, which is a very good repeater. In fact, a lot of Sicilian people use this repeater. It has a very good wide coverage. And our local repeaters, this repeater in fact is one of the most famous repeater on the island, together with the club station repeater and other few private repeaters. Anyway, I don't want to take it long. Nice to meet our friend, I forgot the call sign, November Papa something. Jerry from USA. ħadfiċi li smajtkom, ħaqot on the site, għaddu il-xlira I have to drive to pick up someone, and I keep on the road. This is 9H5 Bravo Zulu, passing the mic back to the net operator.
NH1BX.
Go ahead, Bill. 9H1, H1BX and 7APW. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Not a directed net, so please go ahead. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. 9H5SA from 9H1BX. I'm just waiting for somebody in the piazza in Mostar, outside the APS bank, because of car parking and everything. It's very awkward. So I just thought I'd pop in and say hello to everybody. Thanks for inviting me and Jerry. We had some visitors earlier on, so we didn't go on the net, unfortunately, this evening. And we're leaving on Monday from Malta. 9H1BX, over.
Can I reply there, if you please, Jerry?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Good. Jerry, I'll have to sign off over here because I need to join my ex-whale. But before I leave, I want to thank Bill, because he did a very good presentation to the Cub Scouts prior to the event, and that helped the Cubs to understand what is happening. I do hope that the same thing happens in elsewhere. I believe Manuel did something of the sort also in San Juan. That's very good, Manuel. Very well done. Very well done. Keep up the good work, my friend. So hopefully we'll get to have more of these activities done and dusted, as we say. Okay, very good, very good. I'm trying to find a parking space right now. So 73, I have to say 73 to you all, guys, and look forward to talk to you as usual on this repeater during the day when I'm at work. 78 PW and all the rest of the guys, 9H1 Jaffa Lima off and clear.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. While this net has been ongoing, I was sort of trying to Google for the answer. What is the minimum age to obtain a radio amateur license in Malta? The only information I've found online, although might mean I haven't looked hard enough, is the website of Marl, and it says that in order to obtain an amateur radio license, one of the conditions is you have to be over 14 years of age. Over 14 years of age. So that tallies with having obtained a physical ID card. Although in Malta you're assigned an ID number as soon as you get born. As soon as you get born and registered, you're assigned an ID number. You don't actually have a physical card until you're 14, but you still have that number. But according to the Marl website, you have to be over 14 years of age in order to obtain a license. I'm sure there's the information written somewhere on the Malta Communications Authority website. Just I haven't found it, but I'm sure it's there in some regulation or legal document. Okay, back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
And 7 APW, 9 Hotel Georgia Golf.
Yes, go ahead, Jonathan.
Beyond well mentioned the local repeaters that unfortunately most of the time they are not used, not used because nobody's on the repeater. and he said that we need more young blood. True, and I completely agree. But unfortunately, I don't agree with the system. Having said that, I think the license in Malta should be done by steps. If we need younger children and youngsters to be much more active on the radio, the course shouldn't be, I'm not saying complicated, I'm not saying hard, but yes, it is complicated. Imagine a 14 or 13-year-old trying to study for the O-levels, while in the meantime studying to get his amateur license. I'll put it on myself. I'm not 14 anymore. It's been quite some days now, but I prefer doing my O-levels instead of getting a license, and then after that, obviously, A-levels, then university, then whatever, or work or whatever. And so, as it happened to me, I left the license for ages later. I think if the license is done by steps, by grade, like there is England, and I think even in the USA it's like that. I think we encourage more youngsters to get at least a portion of the license. And obviously we don't have all these radios going around in hands of people that, I'm not saying that they don't know how to use the radio, but maybe they don't know the regulation as well. That's just a small comment from my side. But unfortunately, if they don't change the whole system, we're not gonna improve the system. I don't know if I'm being selfish or I'm being maybe stupid. That's how I personally see it. My back to theory.
9H97 Alpha Papa Whiskey. This is 9 Hotel 2 Oscar Charlie. May I have the mic, please?
Go ahead.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. Just take the mic and you don't have to go to net control. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Thanks, Anthony. I actually looked up the actual legislation and I found, I'm just reading it, alright? So permanent license means an individual license granted by the authority to any qualified person residing in Malta having at least 16 years of age. So it seems that for a permanent license one should have at least 16 years of age. Just wanted to clarify this. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Owen. Yeah, by coincidence, I was googling and reading exactly the same legal notice. So you're perfectly correct. This is referring to legal notice 399.46, 399.46, which is legal notice regarding amateur station licenses. It is 16 years of age, yeah. So I'll correct myself for the previous feedback which I gave. Back to Owen. 9H2 Oscar Charlie. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
Yes, okay. I mean, of course, we always need to look to the legal notices. This is why they put them up there. It's very difficult to remember all those details, right? So, but I just wanted to look it up because I believe it wasn't so low as 14, 15. I believe it was 16 years of age, in fact. That's why I wanted to look it up. Actually, I think it would be a good opportunity to promote this even to schools, right? To try to maybe do some PR activities through both clubs to actually try to engage a little bit more young radio amateurs to our hobby. It would be a nice experience, actually. Back to you, back to the floor. I'm not sure who would like to continue discussing this.
My Hotel to Lima Radio. I think as the Maltese legislation had changed for people that can vote are now able to vote as 14 years old, and the ID card can be given or can be given to people for 14 years old so they can vote in the elections. This legislation should now be changed as well, and instead of 16 years old it become 14 years old. I don't know if anyone agrees with me. Back to the floor.
Juliet Golf.
Just pick up the mic and go ahead, Jonathan. It's an open forum.
Okay, Jerry. I would like to answer both Owen and both Manuel. I completely agree with both, but changing the legislation, I mean, it's a positive thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that by changing the legislation we're going to do something bad, but obviously we're going to do something good. But if we're going to change it, I suggest, I no want to suggest nothing, but I prefer it to be of a younger age, and there may be a legal guardian. Okay, maybe he's not a radio amateur, but at least there's someone legal, adult, that maybe he's responsible of what his child is going to do. Regarding the school, Owen, he said something very, 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 very nice. But what's the point promoting radio amateur to 10, 11-year-old children while it's like showing them ice cream but don't give them the ice cream? I don't know if you got my point or not. If you're gonna promote the hobby to youngsters, at least they're gonna work for something that they might have a chance to do. Not, I think 14 and 16 is very sensitive age, between 14 and 16. I'm saying sensitive age, and saying regarding school-wise. That's just my opinion. I mean, it's just an opinion of one person. So that's how I think about it. Mike, back to you guys. Mike, back to you. Answer the next level.
Very interesting conversation that we're having here. This is November 7th, Alpha Papa Whiskey, leading the 9HM GlobalNet this evening. It's been very pleasurable, and it's not over yet. So thank everybody for joining in. So far, we have a total of 11 check-ins, which is wonderful. I do have a couple of comments, but before I say mine, I'll give a pause so that the repeater timers will reset. And for anybody else who has any comments or questions. And 780.
This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha. I'm still looking at legal notice 399.46. 399.46. And it says that 16 years is the minimum age for a permanent amateur radio license. But in the second schedule, there is an option for a license valid for a 1-year term. I'm not sure if, and there is an option for a temporary license having a definite term not exceeding 12 months or part thereof. That is actually the one I'm referring to, and that's classified as a temporary license. So there are two sections in the second schedule. One is for permanent licenses, Section A, and Section B is entitled temporary licenses, and it refers to a license having a definitive term not exceeding 12 months. So it might be that the 16 years of age only holds for the permanent license, and the younger age may legally be valid for the temporary license. I think this is something we have to actually check in with the Motor Communications Authority, because they would be the experts in interpretation of this. Back to the floor. This is 9 Hotel 5 Foxtrot Alpha.
This is 9 Hotel 2 Oscar Charlie. Yes, good idea, Anthony. Actually, the voting age, I believe it is 16. It was 18 before, and now it's reduced to 16. So effectively, this is also sort of reflected in our legal notice for radio amateur. Back to the floor.
Healthy discussion. You know, I'm thinking now, since tomorrow is Friday, if somebody has a time, not necessarily tomorrow, but sometime soon, giving the Office of, my goodness, I was going to give it its own name, Office of Wireless Telegraphy. That's how long ago I got my first license, which was on Malta. But anyway, give them a call, because you know, they should have an answer. A definite one at that, too. And I'm not saying you don't. But, you know, when you go and look at this and this revision and this add-on and this amendment, it gets to be confusing. And I don't want anybody to get gray hair here, you know. I have a couple of comments while I have the floor. Manuel, you were talking earlier about interference during an activity. In this case, it was the embryo there. I've been a licensed ham for 50 years. I would say for the first 40 some odd years, no, that's not right. The first 30 years of my life, it was mostly on HF. And if I was a contest person, then I would have been operating every weekend. But many people are contesters, and many people feel like they've been using a certain frequency for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and my goodness, you can't transmit on it. So if you do, or occupy that space, they may not be very happy and show it, which is not fun. It's not in the spirit of ham radio. It's not in the spirit of international fair. Let me give a pause. Friendship either. But I can assure you that it's been happening since I got my first shortwave license, or HF license, in 1974 as 9 Hotel 1 Echo Foxtrot. And because I was a 9H1, as you all very well know, and because I operated probably 4 or 5 evenings a week then I was sought after. And that was my only redeeming value, I suppose. People really tried hard to get a hold of me so that they could get a confirmation of the QSO and a new country, of course. And then I came here and got my license here as an N5 APW, and I put up a better setup than I had on Malta, and nobody would answer me back. Because I didn't have an amplifier, because blah, 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 blah. I didn't have a rare call sign, but then after a while you get used to operating differently than just saying, this is 9 Hotel 1 Echo Fox monitoring. That's all I had to say. And I as long as propagation was good, I'd have 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 stations, and people who were barefoot with 100 watts and a dipole antenna, and people who had 1,000 watts and a 6-element beam. And while the band would be dying, then you'd hear the strong signal from someone who has what I used to refer to as a big station. Let me give a pause. I have a second comment too. Regarding, there we go, I have the floor. Regarding licensing and courses for people who may be younger than 16. I've actually taught these courses myself here, but I honestly don't know what the minimum age is. All I can tell you is that the 2 youngest brothers who got their ham radio license after attending one of my classes were 9 years old, and they became very, very active and very proficient in most aspects of ham radio. So that was wonderful. But regarding that, I remember when I was on Malta at the time, I think it was 1972, 1973. You had to go take a course. You had to pass the course by certifying, by taking an exam from the City and Guilds of London. And now that piece of paper plus passing Morse code at 12 words a minute would get you your license, provided you set up a station that at that time the office of the Prime Minister and wireless telegraphy would come and certify and say, yeah, it's safe for you to operate. Make sure you have a lock on the door so that when you're not operating, nobody can come in and go on the air. And then you get your license. But the point is here that the person who was teaching us the class at the Technical Institute in Paolo was also a licensed ham, apart from being a teacher at the school. And he was kind enough to invite us over. And when I say us, it was my brother and I, Charlie, 9H1 FBS. And he was kind enough to invite us just about every Sunday morning to his shack to listen in on conversations and contacts, QSOs, that he was having with his friends, mainly in England. And this is November 7, Alpha Papa Whiskey returning. And just like everything else, even simply by listening to the way someone else is conducting their QSOs or contacts, after a while it becomes ingrained in your mind. And honestly, when I got my license, I sat there for the radio, and I'm going, my goodness, I'm in my shack, I have my radio, I can turn it on, I can turn the radio, I can actually transmit. Wow. And I sat there for like 5 minutes in amazement, and after that, I just pressed the mic and called CQ, because I had been listening to that format for so long, probably a year, that it just became a natural part of what you do, just like we do today. So, both individuals and clubs play an integral part in the development of a new ham radio operator. and it does encourage them. It does increase their enthusiasm, and it tells you some interesting stuff. Like if you're studying Morse code, which not many people do anymore, there are what are called plateaus. You'll be doing fine. Oh, I now can read and write 4 words a minute. Then you hit 5, and all of a sudden the progress stops, and you're going, my goodness, I don't know why this is so hard. And then somebody will look in and say, 5 words a minute is a normal plateau, that when you reach it, you'll be stuck there for quite a while. And then right off the bat and right out of nowhere, you'll start progressing your speed again, reading and writing the Morse code. And so it would be nice. You know, we have, we call ourselves Elmers, and Elmers are people who take someone under their wing and help them and make it through their license. Oh my goodness, I'm talking. Help them through their license, and then help them afterwards. You know, a phone call. This happened to me. Any ideas? You know, it's always nice to have someone to go to that can help you, and it just makes the hobby so much more wonderful. I've said enough, and thank you for listening, everybody. This is N7APW with the 9H GlobalNet. Back to the.
Jerry, tripja repeater, naħseb reġaġi over.
I apologize for that. I got carried away. N7APW.
To Oscar Charlie, back on air.
And welcome back. I apologize for a chaos I may have caused. N7APW.
Hi, Hotel to LR. Something else I would like maybe to tackle myself and maybe with some friends, Joe and other people. You mentioned, Jerry, contesting. It is a shame that people like Joe and us and Steve will be preparing for this event for the whole year. So after you finish this one, you start preparing what you're going to do next and how to become better. And then on Saturday at 12 o'clock, there was a contest that started till probably, I don't know, till Sunday. I didn't check. I'm not saying that I'm against contesting, but they should leave a gap for JOTA, JOTI, to take effect. So, as you said, practically it is every weekend there is a contest going on. JOTA, JOTI is all over the world, not just Malta. So I don't know where to ring the bells, but maybe they leave that weekend, especially Saturday, not contesting because the bands were packed. And as you said, Jerry, if they don't take your place, they come next to you, they switch on the amplifier, and they don't hear you because you are transmitting only 100 watts, and they will be transmitting a kilowatt. So because they are contesting, they have, it seems like a question mark, they have the right to use the band. Back to the floor.
Well, in truth, in my opinion, and the way I see it, everybody has the same right to use the band equally. But that is on paper. In the real world, life is different. And so, you know, I feel and I agree with what you say, but I'm not sure, since ham radio licensing is regulated by every country through its overall covered by the International Amateur Radio Union, YARU. But obviously, every country that issues a license has its own rules. In fact, even a license between that was issued here, as opposed to Malta, there are certain frequencies that the Maltese can't transmit on HF that we can, and vice versa. And so you know, it's such a big world that you do the best you can. You do the best you can with what you have. And I'll you know, all the years that I was on HF, I'm not on HF anymore. But over all the years, I knew when the big contests were there. And while I had a good beam and I never had an amplifier, I knew that if I went on the air on those days, I'd be upset. I also understand that this is the day that the Jamboree on the Air is, and other activities. So it's you know, it's a two-sided coin, and everybody has a good reason, but obviously interference should never be condoned. But what do you do? I mean, honestly, what do? You can't you can tell them to stop transmitting, and if you really wish, you can be actually ugly about it. But will it get you anywhere, or will it just make them do more? My experience has been to just not acknowledge them with the hope that they would go away. N7APW with the 9H ham GlobalNet. Back to the
I agree with you, Jerry, 9 Hotel 2 Lima Radio. Yes, but someone, it's not the IARU that is doing the contest. It's some kind of a body that do different kind of contest. So I imagine that there is a body somewhere, or a group, that is doing these contests. With a good fair deal, JOTA JOTI should have not the right, but at least that weekend there wouldn't be any contest going around. So to give enough time for people, not like me, but for the scouts, to at least get a taste of what is amateur radio. Till Saturday noon, it was okay. But just before noon, you know, they start heating up their valves and their equipment, and they override it. And after 12 o'clock, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. But anyway, there is another way. You can go to other modes, maybe Morse or maybe DMR, and use those modes. Okay, back to the floor.
Yeah, you know, the big boys obviously get to be heard more. They know it. There's probably a reason why they're big boys. And so you get something like DMR, and you're on DMR, and some others are too. Everybody is quote unquote equal. It doesn't matter how much power your transmitter has, because all it has to do is either reach a local repeater or a hotspot, and the rest is done through the internet. And while some people have their opinions about using the internet relevant to that, Once it goes on the internet, everybody is equal. You know, you can't say that, oh, you know, Jerry has a big station, a 50-foot tower, a 6-element beam, a 2,000-watt amplifier. Oh, you know, I live 10 blocks away from him, and no way anybody's ever going to hear me unless Jerry is not operating his station that even makes my lights flicker. And that has happened to me. But on the MR, you hear everybody. I hear some of my neighbors actually who live a few miles away, and we say hello to each other, and sometimes we join forces if there's a rare station that we'd both like to talk to, and talk to them on the MR from our respective GTHs. So, but still, you know, I think I haven't been on HF in a long time, but I think that the activity on HF is a lot less than it used to be. It was very crowded way back in the 80s when I was very active, but there was always space. But honestly, on weekends where there were contests, I rarely turned the radio on because I knew that I was going to get upset, and I knew that it was not going to be fun. And 7APW, back to the. Are there any other late check-ins to the 9H Ham Global Net, or does anybody have anything else for the net? It's been a wonderful net. I'd like to thank everybody for checking in. We have a total of, if I can count right, 11 entries. I'm sorry, 11 check-ins, but they are entries on my computer. Oh, goodness. You'd think it would be late night here, but it's early afternoon. This is N7APW with the 9H Ham Global Net. Stand.
9 Hotel 2 Juliet Golf. Jerry, I'm gonna call it a day, and would like to thank everybody, and especially all the groups involved in JOTA. Hope to catch you next time, and I'm gonna give you my 73s. Good night to everyone, because I have to go. This is 9 Hotel 2 Juliet Golf, Mike Beckton at controller.
Okay, very good, Jonathan. I hope you have a great evening. Thank you for checking in and staying for our conversation, and I hope you show up again, everybody. It's always a lot of fun to discuss ham radio related topics. That was hard. Anything else for the net before I close? The net. We're going to keep calling it the net, I suppose. N7APW. Well, hearing nothing, I'd like to thank everybody. We had a total of 11 check-ins, if my counting is correct, and Anthony can confirm that. I'd like to invite everybody to check in 2 weeks at the same time, at the same place. I don't have to remind everybody that we're going through the time change. I believe Malta's time change is this weekend, and ours will be the weekend after that. I'm not looking forward to it. I'd like to thank the repeater trustees for allowing us the time and space to use their repeater, the Echo link to the 9H1 UHF repeater, and also 9H1 DMR. I'd like to thank Anthony for all the work that he does and getting us the different presentations every 2 weeks, and all the stuff that you do on YouTube, and who knows what more you do that I am not even aware of. Mailing, everything. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. You keep us all going. What else? Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'd like to officially say that the 9H Ham GlobalNet is closed. And if somebody wishes to stay and chit-chat, I believe I can practice some more Maltese. November 7 Alpha Papa Whiskey.